prior box in bounding boxes. I think I shouldn't complicate the loop like this. Maybe I should just do for I box and this, then like for J, prior box. Up to I. If boxes intersect. Box of a prior box. Then this has to go in its own render list. And so how would I code that? I think I'd want to start this out with an empty list like this. Then if there's an intersection, then I'd append a new one. And this would contain the curves at I. Or something data in this case. So let's do this. And I have to do this boxes intersect, which right now I know they all don't. So I go through all those bounding boxes, look through all the prior ones, and if there's an intersection, then I have to append in a new list. But it won't be as simple as appending in a new list. It would be checking if it has an intersection with anything in the new list. And then if it does, then appending another one. So let me give this a better name than something data. I'll just call this curves. Or curves list. And here. And I'll just say for each box, I have to do a for loop over lists in the render list. Yeah, this can be curves at 0. Curves list. And box and this. Well, at this point, I don't think I need the I. If like box intersects list of like the curves list. It says render lists, plural. And for each of these, the box intersects something in that list. This would be box and list. And if it does intersect, what should you do? And if it does intersect, what should you do? It's actually the other way around. If it doesn't, if the new one doesn't intersect anything in this first list, then you'd append it to that one. Oh, but this is even worse because you can't append to the list if I'm iterating through the list. Well, I can't modify it while I'm iterating through it. So to say for I in range, if that box doesn't intersect the list, then I'll have to be box and render list at I. In that case, you can append it. Maybe curves at I. And this I doesn't have to start at 0, since the 0th one is, of course, already there. Actually, I can do that. I can just leave this empty. And then start from 0. Say for I in this range, if the box does not intersect anything in that render list, then I can append it. Else, we'll just continue. Just go to the next one. Then if you break out of this loop, here I have to check if, and like however I do it, if like not added to a list. And then here I'd have to do render lists.append. A new list containing curves at I. Curves list at I. Here I can just say this is let's call it, say like added to list equals true. And if not added to list, and this can be something set here. So now for each of these boxes, I'll be looking for a list to add it to. So I'm going to go through all of these lists, look for one where there's no intersection. If I find one with no intersection, that's when I append it and I say add to the list equals true. When I get through that entire loop, if I haven't added to a list, then I'll have to add a new one. Append to curves this at I. Yeah. Okay, then at this point, then I could combine those two. Great. So now I just have to write these functions. That's one thing. Boxes intersect. I think these boxes are going to be tuples. Let me actually just check that. This is an attribute min. 180 here. Curves list is this. I'm gonna want to numpyify each entry in the curves list. So I'm gonna say, let's say curves list equals numpy.array of curves for curves in that list. Okay, so I have that. Let me see if that's any better. Okay, so now I can get here, and if I print... Okay, so I have that. Let me see if that's any better. Okay, so now I can get here, and if I print the bounding boxes, this is 0. Yeah, so this is two points in space. And technically, even 2D objects are 3D, but they can only be projected in 2D space. So I would want to convert these into normalized device coordinates first. That's what get bounding box should do. So it doesn't really make sense to do here, but I should have a to do. Okay, but now that I know that these are tuples of points, how do I detect if they intersect? Well, so I can tell if they don't intersect. I can take box 1, take its upper right point. I'm going to take the y coordinate of that. And if that's less than box 2's, the y coordinate of box 2's lower left point, then box 1 is beneath box 2. So there's no intersection there. Then it's just the opposite of this. This means there's no intersection. Well, the debuggability looks pretty bad. Also, why is this? No intersection is not accessed. Why is there expected expression here? Weird. Maybe we can just let this format it I think I have to do this. Whoops. Now it still says expected expression. Am I bad at Python? Okay, one thing at a time. Am I allowed to say that it equals this? Anyway, I'm gonna return not. Not. No, intersection. Comment this out for now. Okay, and I can do this. That's the first of these. What in the world? Okay, here's the second one. Python is annoying me. Why can't I? Oh, you can't use this thing in Python. You have to type or. Great. Okay, so now I can actually go back and do it the way I want it to. Although I don't know if less than probably binds more tightly than or. But I don't know that for sure. I'll just do this just in case. Anyway, I did that. Then for list, this is easy. Boxes intersect. Box 2 for box 2 in list. Okay. So this should detect intersection of those bounding boxes. So what I want to do now is stop here and look at those render lists. Yeah, I'll just stop here and look at them. Okay. For the length. 1, that's good. I looked at the length of the 0th. That's 9, that's good. I'm just gonna say concatenate. I'm gonna make this a tuple of the render lists at 0. I think they should do the same thing. Or we need an origin still. I can just say, let me just do this inline. Okay. Well, only the S is there now. Render lists at 0. Yeah, there should be more things than just the 1. And that's annoying. Formatter runs looks like massacred. So true, unfortunately. Okay, why is this not working? I do curves list. Then this works. And these should have all been... Then this works. And these should have all been appended to the render lists. Oh, now that I think of it, render lists at 0. That's not a NumPy array. Oh, that should be fine, actually. And doing... and concatenating those regular arrays together. But it only comes with the S. Okay. Render lists at 0 has 9 elements. Do curves lists. Also 9 elements. What's the difference between these two? Is there one? They do seem to be in like a different order or something. Why did that matter? Oh, should this... I think it should start out like this. So this start out for iron range render list. This will be 0. And so it won't be added to the list. And then I'd append a list containing the first element. Let's see if that helps. I reference before assignment. That's true. This is also a problem. So let's make this J. Curves list at I. So I'm iterating through the render lists, looking for intersections on that render list. If there is no intersection, then to that render list I append the box at I. Otherwise, the render list I'll append a list containing the box at I. So let's go see. For I, range then bounding boxes. Box equals bounding boxes at I. It should also be one-to-one with the indices and curves list. Okay. Okay, now I get to something. Which is great. I rendered the curves list directly as well. I would get something. Okay. So this would require n-squared work for the number of letters that you want to render together. Also, I'm going to need a test where text is overlapping. So I think what I want to do, come here, say text dot sub objects at 0, the sub objects at -1. This should index the G. I shift this to right by 0.5. 1. This should index the G. I shift this to right by 0.5. And this should overlap. Right. Oh, did I not animate anything? No, I moved the wrong direction. Yeah. Those directions, they'll get you. Okay, so now there's some overlap. So let me write this out. I'll call that overlap data. Okay, now let me import from overlap data. And I'll just try to run the text rendering. Okay, and this does what I expected it to do. In the place where the G is, the colors are flipped. So I don't know if I want to fix that right now, but I want to see if I detect it. So I want to come here. Oh, I can actually check it by looking at the render list at 0. Alright, perfect. So this detected that the G was overlapping with the N. And so it saved the G for a future render. If I look at the render lists, I think I just want the length. This one is 8, and that one's 1. So the G was written to a different render list, so it'll be done in a future render. So if I update this to 1, for example, this should show me just that G. Great. Okay, so this will manage to get around the overlap issue that it has right now. So my only question is there a faster way to detect these intersections? Is this in cubed? For rangeline bounding boxes, that's order N. For rangeline render lists, this is order N. And then box intersects list. I don't think this is order N actually. This. Yeah, I don't think so. I guess I'd have to think about it some more. I think this amortizes to be so that this loop together with this loop is only order N. But I'd still rather not have something N squared. There must be something with like something with segment trees to detect collisions or something like that. AABB tree. Interval tree. Spatial partitioning trees. Spatial partitioning trees. That's pretty intense. Hierarchical bounding volumes. I'd have to look into these more complicated data structures on my own and see if that's something I want to do. Fast filtering slow loops, let's see. Efficiently filtering data sets. I'm not sure if the problems are analogous. Extracting all the points that are in a rectangle width between. That are in a rectangle between these 2 points. Instead of a numpy array. This is very implementational speed up, which is good. But I was thinking more on the algorithmic side of what would make it take longer. Although, both of these are probably worth looking into. Okay. Should I work on the actual GUI PR? Maybe I should. I don't think there was a ton to do other than mess up all of the defaults that made it good. What I did was to say change the size and change the theme. What? I feel like this should be left to the user. This probably makes sense. Whatever, I'll just... This looks fine, yeah. This looks fine. This is fine. This is less fine. Shouldn't this be something up to the user? Wait, I guess I can just bring up something with the GUI and see how it looks. Here's your configuration for getting the GUI on the right side. It's actually... It's kind of complicated. Wait, what was I doing? Text? I think this theme looks fine. Anyway, I have a shortcut. I do this so much that I have a shortcut on my keyboard that literally takes this window and puts it there. That's how often I do this. And so I wasn't trying to do that. And so that's how often I do this. And so I wasn't trying to do that. And so it does that from anywhere on the screen, actually. That's probably not really possible on Windows. And even if you use Linux, it's probably not something you really want to do unless you do this a ton. So that's why. Anyway, this theme looks fine. I'm gonna say this should be left as a concern. That's good. It might be possible to do it then. If you look into, like, if you're using X, most people are, then you can look into XDo tool. And this lets you, like, move windows with your keyboard. Maybe I would just commit this suggestion. However, Aquabeam or Hydrobeam spent this entire round of review, undoing all of my changes, my like personal changes. And so then he's like, yeah, I think this just looks a little better. I don't know if I can let you get away with that. What does this even look like? Dark 2? GUI.9. UI. Don't commit the suggestion. Gotcha, gotcha. Oh my gosh, it looks worse. I think it looks worse. Aren't the colors more washed out? And this green is really jarring against the rest of it. Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna say I think this should be left like using. Oh, then I have to merge it or whatever. Try Nord. I've seen a lot of Nord themes floating around on the internet. I'm not a huge fan of them, to be honest. It matches up pretty well with Manim's colors. Oh, you mean like, is there a Nord theme for this? Is there? I think this is just the default. I guess you could try to merge this. Oh hey, it worked. Great, now this can get reviewed in a little while. Cool, okay. Well, that was fun. Got some work done. I'm gonna end up probably looking into these more complicated bounding box algorithms, but I'm gonna stop the stream here. Check the PRs. Honestly, it would really benefit It'd probably benefit the library a lot if I just went through a lot of PRs and went through a lot of issues. But I just never freaking do. Sorry. I'll do it one day. I mean, Manim just feels so broken to me that I always just want to work on things to make it work better. But okay, I'm gonna call the stream here. Been super fun. 15:52. Okay, I'll look at this one. Just the stream here. Been super fun. 15:52. Okay, I'll look at this one. Just for you. Oh, are these the ones that nobody knew what they did? Check the functions of all these parameters are removed. Thanks a lot. I do not feel comfortable merging this wheel with knowledge of the original uses of these parameters. Discuss this. I think removing dash space, we should implement it for real. I suspect that this re-implementing rather than removing may be the best case of the parameters. Aww, thanks. Yeah, it's a lot better, but I think it's still really bad. So, still a lot of work to do. I'm fine with re-implementation for these parameters, but if they were to be re-implemented, we would have to have some comments or discussions about them. Moreover, these were added by Grant but aren't used anymore. Conserve tip when scaling was also added, was removed. Dash spacing is also being removed, but I'll just revert that. Also check for any parameters in Geometry Pi and see if I can clean it up. Is there a GeoSearch project board or things to be done? There should be, but not really. There is this projects board. Some people use it and some people don't. I guess there's not a ton of people who use it. But, yeah. This is the closest thing. It would actually probably be more beneficial if more people kept track of their projects there, just so everyone could see what everyone's doing. So is this completely ready? Let's revert that back. So I added back the dash spacing and the typing. But if they would be replanted, there had to be some discussions about them. Gotcha. Check the function of all the parameters are removed. For example, this under dash line. Okay, so this is mostly just nuking these out of existence. Which I am always in favor of nuking code out of existence. But it's out of date or whatever. Cool. Okay, now for real this time, I'm gonna call the stream here. It was super fun. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you at another stream or in the Discord.